Andy Puzder is with us, CKE Restaurants former CEO, I should say. Andy, welcome back to the program.
Good to be here, Stuart.
I've got an interesting number, and I cannot explain it. It's this. The number of people collecting unemployment checks has hit a 17-year low. I'm very surprised to hear that. You tell me what's going on.
Well, there's always the debate, and really we can't resolve it here, between whether people are getting unemployment benefits because they're unemployed, or unemployed because they're getting unemployment benefits. And you do have that, I think it's a 26-week cap on it now. But I think the more relevant data that we can talk about is, look, the percentage of Americans employed as of March hit a high. It's 60.1%. It hasn't been that high since February of 2009. And for working age Americans, 24 to 55 years old, it hit 78.5%. It hasn't been there since September of 2008. So we are seeing more people working. And if you look at the household survey, the establishment survey that talks about jobs created did not have a good number for March, had a great number for February. ADP had a good number for March. But the household survey that deals with the unemployment rate showed 472,000 more Americans working and 326,000 fewer Americans unemployed. So we are seeing more people working, more people in the labor force.
Who gets the credit? Is it President Obama, who left office on January the 20th, or is it President Trump, who won the election in November of last year? Who gets the credit?
I would give it to President Trump. There's tremendous optimism in the business community. There hasn't been this kind of optimism in maybe 8 to 10 years. And you saw the consumer confidence hit a high it hasn't been at since 2009 recently. So consumer confidence is up, businesses are optimistic, more people are working, more people are employed, and the number of people receiving unemployment benefits has not coincidentally gone down. And I would say President Trump's election so invigorated the business community when we knew we weren't going to have to face that that onslaught of new regulation after executive order. I think we've really turned things around. We need to get tax reform done in Obamacare, but we're heading in the right direction.
Now, Andy, I'm sure you've heard this. President Trump is pushing for House Republicans to vote next week on an Obamacare replacement. He says he's very hopeful we'll get something next week. You know, we've heard this before. You're on the inside of this administration to some degree. You think it's really going to happen?
I do. Look, Paul Ryan and Kevin McCarthy are two really great guys, very good policy guys. We've got some people in the House of Representatives that need to wake up. We're now the ruling party. We're the party that has to govern. And you can't govern if you give up the good because you're trying to achieve the perfect. Republicans have a difficult time understanding that they need to move the ball down the field while they have possession. Andy, the Democrats get this. The Republicans,
I'm reading between the lines, Andy, and I think you're critical of the Freedom Caucus. So my question is, do you think that the Freedom Caucus has understood the criticism and is now prepared to bend just enough to get something passed?
I do think that. I think President Trump handled it very well when the last vote didn't go through, and he said, look, if you're not going to deal with me, I'll talk to the Democrats. How are you going to like that deal? I think that's got to wake the Freedom Caucus up a little bit. Plus, they know, these guys are up for election every 2 years. They know if they go home and they haven't done what they promised they would do for the past 8 years, which is get rid of Obamacare or at least make changes in that direction, they're not going to be reelected. There could be a real problem in the House of Representatives. So I think people get it. I think we've got good leadership, and I think we've got a president that can drive that message home. So I'm very hopeful.
All right, Andy Puzder, thank you as always for joining us. We'll see you again real soon.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thanks, Andy.